And there we are, and we are live. I know no one's in the chat just yet, but as always, hello everyone. Welcome to another post-match show. I'm Chris. As always, I'm joined by Irish Tommy. How you doing, mate?
Very well, thanks. Happy hammer, I have to say.
Yeah.
Another very positive performance, positive result. So yeah, it's kind of don't want the season to end almost now, do you?
Yeah, and that's what's frustrating right now. As I mentioned to you beforehand, I mean, this is the first time that we are unbeaten in 3 consecutive matches since the beginning of the season, actually, when we were fighting for third in the table. So, I mean, this season's been just one-off games, and now we're starting to string stuff together. And of course, it's right at the very end. Obviously, this being the penultimate match of the season.
Yes, better late than never, as they say.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're mathematically safe now.
yep.
So now we were safe anyway, realistically, but yeah, all doubt has been removed. We cannot go down under any circumstances now. So that's good.
Yes.
And we can go into the Villa game, and hopefully the players can really enjoy that game as well, and go out there and try and get another win under their belts. And the pressure's off, and we weren't under any real pressure tonight, realistically, anyway. But clearly the players still wanted to go out and get a result tonight and play well. I think that would have been very important to Moyes, because the circumstances of his tenure at Man United, he felt hard done by. So he would not want to go up there and take a beating from them. He would have wanted to make a point, and to be fair, I think he did.
Yeah. And this is another one of those matches, especially in since the restart. I mean, there's been several matches like this, and it always is like a bittersweet feeling, regardless of a point. Like, this is a match where going into it, I would have been happy with a point, considering how we were pretty much safe, and the heaven and earth would need to align perfectly for us to be able, or for there even be a shout of us going down. But Man United battling for Champions League, I thought there would have been a little bit more ferocity from them than what they showed. And so going into the match, I would have been happy with the draw, to be quite honest with you. But watching that match was there for the taking. I mean, that's an opportunity for another 2 points lost.
Yeah, I was very surprised as well that United were so flat. Everything they were doing was at slow tempo, no real purpose to it, no urgency. They didn't look like a team that really needed the points.
Yeah.
So I was very surprised by that. I really thought they were going to be at it tonight, United, and I thought it was going to be a tough evening for us. But it just didn't pan out that way at all. They were very lethargic. I don't know why, but then I don't care either. It's their problem. But I'm glad that they were, because, again, it was a game where we had some space and time on the ball. We were able to knock it about. Albeit the first, I would say, kind of maybe 30 minutes of the game, we didn't get much going, really. We seemed a bit tentative. I think our players possibly were expecting United to be more ferocious than they were, and to be under the cosh a little bit. But over the course of the first 30 minutes, I think our players realized, hang on here, they're not playing all that well, and this tempo is fine for us. And the last 15 minutes of the first half, we basically took over, and we were in control almost for the entire rest of the game. So I don't know what the issue was with United, but definitely they weren't great. Like I say, the tempo really suited us. We really, really could have taken all 3 points today. It's a pity we weren't quite just able to get that second goal, or to keep them out, for the full 90 minutes. But
well, we always knew that was going to be hard, given the quality they have, especially going forward. But so like you said, like, they dominated the first 30 minutes of the match. To keep them out as long as we did was impressive enough. But I mean, I think we had more opportunities that were pretty much wasted. So I mean, this is a stinging match. I mean, it's obviously a moment for celebration, staying up, ensuring Premier League spot for next season, but it could have been so much more. I mean, it could have had massive ramifications up the table, and I think that would have been a little bit more interesting as a West Ham fan, as a neutral now at this point. What's going on up there, but for us, I mean, still a good result.
Oh yeah, of course. Look, if you'd have offered us a point before the game, we absolutely would have taken that. Would have been very happy with that. But as you say, the way the game panned out, we were quite unlucky not to take all three.
Yeah.
And just to get the one kind of negative aspect out of the show early on, just get it out the way. I was really, really disappointed with Diop for their goal. When that ball was popped into Mason Greenwood, he took a touch to shift the ball out of his feet, and Diop was coming across and made a really pathetic effort at trying to get a block on it. I mean, he really ought to have been throwing himself in front of that. If he had a slid in front of that, he would have blocked that shot from Greenwood, absolutely no question. But he ran across, stayed on his feet, made a kind of stuck a toe out almost, like a really poor effort at trying to get a block in. So I was really disappointed in Diop on that one. He could have done a lot better and should have got a block on that if he'd have been, more proactive and really put himself in front of it. But for some reason, he just, the lack of effort from him was poor. I don't know why, but I was really disappointed in that when I saw the replays, because whenever an opponent scores a goal, you're looking for, okay, who wasn't doing their job there? And unfortunately, on this occasion, it was Diop who was across in time to get a block on it and just made a really, really weak effort at trying to get a block in. So I was very disappointed in that. And, we should have really kept a clean sheet tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that would have boosted Fabianski's confidence moving forward. But I wanted to ask you, too, I know we were talking a little bit about it beforehand, how we thought Noble this kind of match might get away from him. What did you think of Noble tonight?
He was fine. Again, like I said to you, I think it was in our last post-match show. If Noble's playing in a game where the tempo isn't very high, and there's a bit of time and a bit of space, and there isn't, the closing down isn't great from our opponents, and Noble's absolutely fine. He can play in those games, no problem, and play well in those games. He's not an issue. That was the case against Norwich, you remember?
Yeah.
Loads of time and space. Noble could play in that game, no problem. Again, same against Watford. We were in complete control. We had time and space, knocking the ball around nicely in the first half. Second half, Noble struggled against Watford because Watford really upped the tempo. But tonight, again, absolutely fine. Noble can play in those games, no problem. If the tempo isn't very high and the closing down isn't great, Noble's absolutely fine. So he was okay tonight. There was one period where I felt like he needed to come out of the game just after United equalised. For about 10 minutes or so, their tails were up, and they actually started playing at a higher tempo, moving the ball around much faster. And we had to kind of sit back and soak it up for about 10 minutes. And that was the point where I thought, okay, this is when you bring Noble out, because he was struggling at that point to really get into the game and get on the ball. So I was actually calling for him to come out at that point. But luckily for us, United just kind of lost their tempo again. They only kept it going for 10 minutes, and then they kind of slumped back into their slower play, and we got a foothold in the game again because of that. So it had turned out, Noble didn't need to come out.
Yeah.
So he's fine in those games. It's the high tempo, high energy games where Noble it passes him by. But tonight was fine.
Yeah, I agree with that. I did see a few moments where Noble just made some stupid passes, or attempts at least, and I thought, oh no, here we go. This is where it starts to unravel. But he actually bounced back from it usually. So it was actually, I was very impressed with him. I mean, regardless at his age for a player playing 90 minutes against Man United at Man United, regardless the situation, is still impressive. So got to give him credit for that. Um,
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not a fitness issue. He's very fit. He looks after himself. It's not fitness. It's just he is very very slow now.
yeah,
He has lost a couple of. It's painfully obvious on the pitch sometimes
yeah,
when you're watching him. If he miscontrols a ball and it goes a yard away from him, opponents can make up 2 yards of ground on him before he gets back to the ball and he loses possession. He's just really really slow. Um, but like I say, when he's got some time and space, he's fine because he has a really good vision and his passing is excellent. And obviously he's hugely experienced, but he is just painfully slow now. So I think this Villa game on Sunday is going to be really high tempo. Villa have got to throw everything at us in that game. They've got to really go for a win against us. So that would be a really high tempo game. So it would be interesting to see how Noble fares on that one. I
yeah,
would have my worries.
yeah. And I agree with you on that one too. If there's ever a game where Noble shouldn't be in, it's probably a match like that. For those exact reasons. And for me, I'd love for the Stars to align, and I'd love to be the one to sink Aston Villa. I'd love to be the team that relegated two of the three candidates, Villa and Norwich.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that game.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. It's going to be really interesting. Really interesting final day now. It's Watford
done.
or Villa are gone. Yeah, no, I mean the permutation is still there. I mean there is a way in which Bournemouth could still actually survive, believe it or not,
Wow.
on goal difference. So amazingly, I thought they'd be dead and buried by now with their fixture list, um, but amazingly, Bournemouth still have a chance. So if I can't remember the exact permutation, but certainly Watford and Villa would both have to lose, which seems entirely possible. And then I think, and Bournemouth would have to win, and then it comes down to the goal difference. Can't remember exactly what the situation is with the goal difference, but Bournemouth could survive, and it could be Watford and Villa that go. So it'll be interesting.
So usually it's Championship Sunday because whoever wins on that game is the champion. This is going to be an interesting day for relegation battle. I like it. A little bit different this time.
Yeah, the relegation battle will be decided. That would be hugely interesting. And remember as well, at the King Power Stadium, Leicester play Man United.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one too.
And Chelsea, I can't remember who they play, but they're basically Chelsea, Leicester, and United are fighting it out for 2 Champions League spots for 3rd and 4th place, and it could be any 2 of the 3. Every permutation is possible. They're at home to Wolves, yeah. So that's going to be an interesting game. Wolves are a very good side.
They're down.
Who's down 1-0?
Chelsea's actually down 1-0 to Liverpool at the moment.
All right, so that will keep it really interesting.
Yep.
So yeah, so there's a couple of things to be decided on the final day, and they'll both be very interesting. Just to see how that pans out. As I say, any 2 of the 3 can finish in the Champions League spots, United, Chelsea, and Leicester, and any 2 of the 3 can be relegated between Bournemouth, Watford, and Villa. So depending on results. So yeah, I'm glad it's gone that way, though. There's 2 really interesting things to watch out for on the final day. It's always nice when there's something at stake.
Yeah, but I'm glad we don't have to worry about it. That is the biggest takeaway from this match for me. We're done. Our season is safe.
We're safe. And now, for some great news, we now officially have to sign Thomas Souček.
That's right. And I believe that I saw that X said that as soon as our safety was confirmed, we'd announce it. So I would imagine before the Sunday match, we'll get a tweet about it. So, So thank God. Welcome, Thomas Souček.
Yeah, officially welcome to West Ham. He's going to be a permanent signing now, very very shortly. So he'll be ours.
First deal of the transfer window, so to speak.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. It's just as well that we're committed to buying him, and he's committed to signing for us. Because if it was optional, other teams could come in for him, and I'll guarantee you, there's other teams that have looked at him and wouldn't mind getting Thomas Socek on their books.
Yeah, oh yeah. And then on
Uh,
top of that, I mean, even if we ended up selling or buying him, it'd have to be probably double what the current obligation is. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, I can't remember exactly how much we'll pay. It's around 15, 16 million. Either way,
5.
well, even at 16.5, I mean, it's an absolute snip.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
he's worth so much more than that. Clearly, he's just a fantastic player, and we're very, very lucky. I don't know who came across him at the club. It doesn't really matter, but thank God they did, and that we got this deal done, because that's a real coup.
Yeah. And speaking of someone who's valued much more than that, Declan Rice. So Declan had a hell of a game again. Obviously, the handball by Pogba that drew the penalty, which Mikel Antonio slotted away. And to answer this really quickly, Danny earlier commented that surprised Antonio took the penalty. I saw basically two tweets from X about it, and one says, and both of them show that the leadership qualities of Noble. First of all, Antonio is the man in form, so give him the chance. Second of all, Mikel Antonio apparently has a clause within his contract and it's some sort of incentive for reaching 10 goals. So he's trying to help him get a little extra payday. So I mean, that's
he was on 9, so
yeah, well done by
yeah,
Noble.
that's nice. Yeah, well done, Noble. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I wasn't half nervous. A penalty was given, you just assumed Noble's going to step up, tuck this away, and then I saw Antonio taking it, and I won't lie, I was like, oh Christ,
I was surprised. Yeah,
I was like, please don't put your foot through this and send it into the upper tier, please. But I can't remember the last time Noble turned down a penalty. So fair play to him, for doing it in the circumstances. But to be honest with you, I'd be pretty pissed right now if Antonio had messed it up.
Oh yeah.
I'd be saying, to hell with your fucking bonus, lad. This is Old Trafford. We love beating United up there. If he'd have missed it, I'd be quite raging at the moment. Like, what are you doing?
But
Noble should be taking it. I still say Noble should be taking those. Like, I understand why he wanted to be a good teammate and all that. And okay, maybe we didn't need a win, but still, if he'd have missed it and we lost the game 1-0 instead of getting the 1-1, given how we played, I would not be happy right now. So thank God Antonio put it away. So all is forgiven.
Yep. And if I were Antonio, I'd give a little piece of that to Noble, that bonus to Noble as a big old thank you.
Yeah, he'd probably buy him dinner or something. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, going back to it, what'd you think of Rice tonight? I mean, we always have to sing his praises in these post-match shows, but I mean, the lad deserves it. So
yeah, look, he was very, very good. He was very good, but to be honest with you, he didn't have to be at his best tonight. We've seen him play better. He has played better than he did tonight. Like against Watford, he was magnificent. But tonight, again, obviously played very, very well. Did everything well. Did everything he had to do. But he didn't have to be at his best. I mean, he was tonight. I think if you privately ask Declan, he'll say, "Do you know what? Tonight was kind of one of my easier games."
Yeah.
I was never put under any kind of pressure. I didn't have to really push myself tonight. United's slow tempo made it a quite easy night. That's bread and butter for Rice. That's not pushing him, and he wasn't pushed in any way tonight.
No, and I think you mentioned it after the match that he scored in against Watford. That it seems like Rice has been working on his striking, and I think this match, for me, showed that yes, he has, and he's got a lot more confidence peppering the goal a little bit. I mean, he took quite a few shots tonight, even from long range. I think that his confidence is building in that aspect. So I think if he sticks around next season, I could see him getting a few more goals than he even did this, a few more goals than the singular one that he did this season.
Oh yeah, there's no question. Yeah, he's next season. I think. Now, I don't want to go crazy. He's not going to score 10 goals, but
No.
if he was to chip in over the course of a season with 5 goals, from his position, I mean, that would be fantastic. And Bowen, again, which was really important to me because Bowen has been fantastic since he signed in January. But the one thing that I want him to add to his game is to get into the box a bit more often, back himself a bit more often, and get some shots away and add to the scoring as well, because we need that. And I saw that tonight. He rattled some shots off tonight, cutting into the box. He gave Williams an awful time tonight. Williams, had a really difficult time with Bowen. Bowen skinned him a few times and got some shots off. Unfortunately, just wasn't able to score. But he had one tipped over the bar by De Gea that he really hit brilliantly, and De Gea unfortunately got a hand to it and tipped it over for a corner. But Bowen, now, what he did tonight, I want to see him doing all the time.
Yeah,
I want to see him adding some goals now to his play. It's all he's missing, and he's well able to score. He has a really great shot on him, and he can shoot left or right. Equally, he doesn't mind. So if he adds a few goals to his game, which I actually expect him to do next season, plus we've got Souček now, who's adding some goals, and that can only help because look, we generally don't have strikers who are going to score 15 goals in a season. It's not often we have a player like that. So we're going to need some goals from midfield. So if Souček, Rice, and Bowen can all be chipping in with goals, 5 or 6 goals each every season, that'll be a huge help. That'll be worth a few points. So yeah, and I thought Bowen was absolutely brilliant tonight, despite the fact he got kicked around quite a bit.
He was being used as a punching bag all night and just got absolutely nothing, no help from the refs.
He was fouled. I don't know how Matic didn't go in the book. Matic made a number of fouls, not all of them on Bowen, but Matic made a number of fouls, and I don't know why he wasn't booked for accumulating so many fouls. He should have gone in the book, because he did foul a lot tonight. So he was lucky to get away with the yellow. And poor Bowen, as you say, I mean, he just got kicked so often tonight. I mean, he was down so many times.
Yeah, I think he's going to be feeling sore tomorrow. I mean, he's going to be bruised, I think.
Yeah, I think Moyes left him on I actually think Moyes left him on the pitch too long.
Yeah,
I think after 70, 75, after maybe 75 minutes, I would have thrown Yarmolenko in there. Give him time to affect the game. Give Yarmolenko, because he could get you a winner, as he's already shown, and he's really, really good coming off the bench. Yarmolenko, he really is an impact sub, and I thought Bowen should have come off after 75 minutes because he'd worked his socks off, and he'd been kicked around. He was sore. You could see he was sore.
I mean,
he was bruised.
He was holding his chest anytime he wasn't running. I mean, he was in pain most of that match, I think.
Yeah, his ribs were sore. His heel got stepped on. He got kicked in the shin. He was battered and bruised, and he should have come off a bit earlier. And circumstances he went off in after going down, it may be costly for us now because he might be unavailable for the Villa game. If he'd have come off after 70, 75 minutes, we'd definitely have him available Sunday, but I'm not so sure now.
Yeah, it's going to be.
So I thought that was a mistake from Moyes.
Yeah, that'll be a toss-up for him. But as a few people have mentioned here, what do you think of young Ben Johnson tonight? He's only played twice at right back for us, and he's looking good.
He looked very good tonight, you have to say. I thought he did an excellent job, and I was impressed. I really was. But it doesn't surprise me. I mean, Chris, I've said it before, that I really rate Johnson. And I've told you I have always rated him more highly than Ngakia. And I've always felt like Johnson is going to be a really, really good right back for us, which is why I wanted him in the team as soon as we knew Ngakia wasn't going to sign a new contract ahead of Fredericks. And so, yeah, I was really impressed with Johnson tonight. He did a great job. He didn't look out of place whatsoever. So, yeah, credit to him. You know, he's an exciting prospect. And to be honest with you, I would be very happy to start next season with Johnson as our first choice right back. If we don't buy a right back in the summer and Moyes says, look, we're going with Ben Johnson because I want to use the money I have on other positions that I think are more pressing, that's fine with me because I have a lot of belief in Johnson. And tonight just kind of rubber stamped it, really.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, going into next season, I'm fine if our right back hierarchy is Ben Johnson as first choice and Ryan Fredericks as backup. I think Ryan Fredericks is a decent Premier League backup. And what that does for us too, though, is it solidifies that maybe we don't need to focus as much on right back. And like you said, we can kind of best use that money that we do have allocated for transfers for other positions that are more needing than that. So
yeah, we desperately need to address the left-hand side. So left back is terribly needed.
Yes.
Terribly needed. Cresswell needs to be the backup left back next season. He's, again, like Fredericks, he's good enough to be a backup next season for us. But we've got to get a really good, young, ambitious left back in. That's an absolute priority. We also need a left midfielder. Now, the question is Grady Diangana going to be that guy? Is he good enough? I'd be willing to give it a season. I'd be willing to say, okay, Diangana, you've got one season here. We're going to play you left midfield. You've got one season to show that you belong in the Premier League and, you know, have at it. So I'd be okay with that for one season. See if it works out. If it doesn't, then fine. We can replace him the end of next season, spend some money on a left midfielder. Because Fornells, who, by the way, I thought was excellent tonight.
Yeah.
Fornells got through some great work tonight. His passing was really good. His interplay out there was really good. So I was really impressed with Fornells out there. And, you know, I love the guy, to be honest. His attitude is brilliant. And he is a very, very good player. But he's still not a left midfield. He's not a left winger. It's not his natural position. I would love to see Fornells moved into the centre to where Noble is playing.
Yeah.
And again, I'd be happy to give him a season there. You know, if you had Bowen on the right with Fornells in the centre and then Diangana on the left of that three, that would be fine with me. You know, I'd have no problem with that for one season and give them a chance to show what they can do. Bring in, you know, splash some money on a left back, and maybe add some depth to the squad as well. We might want to look at bringing in a striker. I have to say, Chris, I was just very disappointed with Haller when he came on again.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's lack of interest or if he just hasn't got it. I don't know, but I mean, he came on and he had absolutely no effect whatsoever. Gave the ball away numerous times. He looks slow. You know, he looks disinterested. I generally don't quit on players in their first season, so I don't want to write. I'm reticent to write Haller off at this point.
Yeah.
But every time I see him, I'm disappointed, and I don't know. Can we afford to have Haller as he is right now at the club for another full season? I'm just really worried about Haller. Again, he came on tonight just completely ineffective, clumsy.
Yeah.
I just don't. I'm worried. I just don't know if we should be keeping him.
Yeah. Supposedly there's interest from Niko Kovac now, who's taken over at AS Monaco for Allaire. And for me, if they approach with somewhere 30 plus million, get as much as you can for him back on your return on your investment. Because I don't think that if we wait a full season, I don't think he's going to be. I don't think we'd be able to sell him for 25. So
yeah,
an offer like that, I don't think I can refuse it for him personally. But if something doesn't come in, I'm fine with giving him one more season. It would be a prove your worth kind of season. But we were talking about Diangana. I don't know if you saw this. Kieran actually said that tonight Diangana actually scored and had an assist for West Brom. So, I mean, he's just continuing his run of form. So,
yeah. Look, he's had a brilliant season in the Championship. You know, so it's very encouraging. Very encouraging. And like I said, a season playing in the Championship will definitely bring a player on a ton, an absolute ton. And the hope is that it has brought Diangana on a ton. Hopefully he'll come back. He'll come back a man. You send a boy down to the Championship for a season and he's playing every week. He will come back a man.
yeah.
So I still think we need to physically bulk him up a little bit. He's still quite slight. So, but that can be done. You know, physically working on physical kind of strength is not a big deal. That can be done. So yeah, I would definitely give him a chance. I would play him out left midfield next season and give him a chance to prove that he can step up from the season he's had in the Championship and do it in the Premier League. I'll put it this way: I'd much rather he's given a chance to do it for us next season than we offload him to West Brom and let him do it for them in the Premier League next season.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. And for me, I'd be more than happy with a pair of wingers in Bowen and Diangana.
Yeah, so, Diangana's got pace. He's got the trickery. He's got a shot in him as well. He can score. You know, he'll cause a lot more problems for teams going forward than Fornells will. It's not a natural position for Fornells. So, like I say, move Fornells into the centre, into the cam role, and let him get involved because he's a really good little player, Fornells, with the ball at his feet, and he has a good eye for a pass. So, yeah, that's what I'd be doing. You know, give players a chance, give Johnson a chance, give Diangana a chance, put more Fornells in the centre, and let's get a really good left back in.
Yep. So, I apologize to everyone. This will end up being a little bit of a shorter stream. I do have to go here in a few minutes, as I have some personal training to do. But I want to get your opinion on this. Now that we're safe, going into this Aston Villa match on the weekend, what kind of team do you play? Do you play your full starting 11, your best squad available, or do you just say, all right, we've done the job, we don't need to risk anybody with potentially a relatively short round, comparatively speaking, to the next season, and let's just play some like the Andersons, the Allairs, where they don't get as much game time anymore, and see what they can do?
I won't be upset if he does that. But no, I'd be inclined to stick with more or less the same team. If he puts out an unchanged team again, I'll be fine with that. I like wins. You know, I like points. I think, you know, and plus, you know, there is integrity involved. You know, we're playing Villa, and there's a huge amount at stake for Watford and Villa and Bournemouth. I don't want us to go out with the wrong attitude in this game. And Moyes has to set that tempo, so right with his selection. If Moyes swaps and changes a bunch of players out, you're basically telling the players, don't care what happens in this game. You know, don't care if we win it or not. And I don't want to see that. I want to see us put out the best team that we can. Now, as you know, I wouldn't play Noble because I think, you know, Villa are going to be huge tempo and desire in this game. But he will play Noble, so we're stuck with it. But look, play the same team. If everyone's fit, just put them all back out again. Let's finish the season on a high. Let's have another good performance. let's have another 3 points in the bag. Potentially move up the table a little bit. I can't remember the exact points there. Can we move up another spot? But let's try and finish on a high. And
Not. We cannot progress anymore. The Crystal Palace is in 14th above us, and they are 4 points ahead.
All right. Well, look, it doesn't matter. Finish on a high. Get the win the game, 3 points, and let's carry all that positivity into the beginning of next season.
By the way, when I clicked over tabs to check the standings, Liverpool are now beating Chelsea, going just before halftime 3-1.
Okay, that's great news for Leicester and United.
4 goals in the first half. That's damn.
Yeah. I know I actually fancied Liverpool tonight. I know they've taken their foot off the gas a bit in recent games because the league was won, but I figured with them being presented with the Premier League trophy tonight, they're at home, big game against Chelsea. I figured they would not be in any mood to lose tonight, before their trophy presentation. So I'm not surprised Liverpool are winning that one. And Declan Rice is going to be a hammer next year.
Oh, yeah. I fully agree with that. What this game, though, does, there's going to be increased rumors of, now they're going to offer Michy Batshuayi, Drinkwater, Barkley, and $100 million for him. No, thank you.
Rubbish. They can't. They haven't got that money. They brought in Ziyech. They brought in Timo Werner, and I can't remember. There's another player now that they're signing. I can't remember who it was now. I read about it a couple of days ago, and his name escapes me. Maybe someone in the chat can remember. But that's another player they're signing for. Listen, the only hand Chelsea have to play right now is to offer a bunch of players, maybe 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah,
for Rice, and maybe a few quid, but we should be telling them to take a running jump. Frankly, not interested. You either stump up hard, ready cash, and a bloody lot of it, or forget about it. So I don't think Chelsea are going to get him.
Yeah, and beyond that too, for me, like with the whole player swap. Oh, Havertz. There you go.
Thank you. Thanks, for Kai Havertz. Yeah, that's another player they're bringing in. So Chelsea haven't got the money to pay straight up cash for Rice, and frankly, we shouldn't accept anything else. So they're, as far as I'm concerned, Chelsea are out of the running. I'd be furious if Sullivan accepted players plus cash for him.
Yeah.
We'll buy our own players, thanks. We don't. Batshuayi, are you serious?
Yeah.
Ross Barkley, who's a decent player, but come on, I wouldn't lose Rice for them.
Yeah, it's not even so much that for me. It's I don't want another club's kind of castaways. Like they're players that they don't really want anymore. So rather than trying to get a few bucks off of them, they're going to say, "Oh, we'll give." It's definitely a sign of them looking down upon us. Like, "Oh, we're better than you. You can take our scraps, and we'll take your good player." So from a kind of a principle standpoint, I would say no.
Yeah. There would be certain players, if they offered them, that would be tempting. I won't lie.
This I would Pulisic, Conte, and $100 million for Declan Rice. That point, have him.
Pulisic, yes. Kante, I don't know, he's getting on a bit. Let's say, for example, if they were to offer Ross Barkley, Tomori, and Ruben Loftus-Cheek, that would be very, very tempting.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a different story. If they give us some players who, then we can at least have the conversation. But when you're talking about Michy Batshuayi, whose agent has said he doesn't go to West Ham, he's always for some reason hated West Ham, and who hasn't played for Chelsea in what feels like months, if not years. No, I mean that's a non-starter.
Well, apparently Callum Hudson-Odoi wants out because he's not getting enough game time.
Yeah.
Callum Hudson-Odoi. Yeah, I would. Hey, if Chelsea want to be cheeky, we should be cheeky. If doing a deal is something our board are willing to do, I'd say we want Callum Hudson-Odoi and we want Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
And a few bucks.
And some money. And then you can have him.
Yeah.
Chelsea might bite. Chelsea might bite, because Hudson-Odoi wants out because he's not getting the game time. And I think they would be willing to let Ruben Loftus-Cheek go. So if we were to go for those two, we could use those players. Hudson-Odoi it can play in the Declan Rice role and do a very, very good job for us. And Hudson-Odoi out in the left wing, I mean, just, brilliant little winger.
Foshizi, 80 mil in Chelsea's youth and training setup. Well, yeah. Well, listen, as always, this is the penultimate match. We have one last match this season, and then it's on to a new campaign. Want to thank everyone for joining us in the chat today. And as always, thank you, Tommy, for joining me. And Sunday's the last one of this crazy season. But until then, come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.